What is up, guys? Rick Hackus here, and this is the complete guide for the Nightfall in Week 2 of the Taken King. Now, this Nightfall is going to take place on the Fallen S.A.B.E.R strike mission, and its main attributes are that it has Void Burn and Specialist. So right away, your loadout should revolve around a really good Void special weapon. A Void Sniper Rifle or a Void Fusion Rifle are going to be ideal. Those are going to let you deal massive amounts of damage and maintain your distance between you and the enemy. A Void Shotgun, one of our team members actually had a Void Shotgun, and it actually killed basically everything in one shot. However, you do have to get up close and personal with an enemy, and that can definitely put you in danger. The gun I had equipped in my special slot was the Telesto Exotic Fusion Rifle. This thing did absolute work in the Nightfall. It was incredible. If you guys have this gun, I would definitely recommend putting it on for this Nightfall. Now, moving on to the actual Nightfall, your first engagement is going to have you defending a warsat from multiple waves of enemies. Now, this is one of the random zones in this strike, so the enemy composition can change. We had Fallen, but you might have Hive or even Taken. Now, because it is Void Burn, you may have a lot of trouble if you do get Hive, for example. So if you keep dying on Hive, it may be worth it just to restart the Nightfall. It's going to be at the very beginning, you're not going to lose much progress at all, and just keep restarting it until you get Fallen. Fallen almost exclusively deal arc damage, especially in this encounter, so you really won't be melted by one shot of anything. Yes, the wire rifles are bad, but they're not quite as bad as Hive ships raining down death upon you. This is, however, a tricky encounter because you do have to stay next to the warsat in order to complete the objective, but there isn't necessarily too much cover near the actual warsat. In addition, the ships in the air are going to make it so that a lot of angles where you are, you're still being attacked by the ship's guns. The best cover is actually just the warsat itself. Usually when you're behind the warsat, it's very difficult for the ship and the things it's dropping off to actually deal damage to you. Remember that you're going to have to kind of switch around it though, because at one point there'll be enemies spawning on one side, and at another point they'll be spawning on the opposite side. So you really need to keep an eye out on your radar and really pay attention to where these enemies are spawning from. Now, things we found useful in this encounter. Number 1, Void Rocket Launchers. They are going to allow you to shoot entire groups of enemies that are spawning from the ships. Now, if it's like a Fallen ship, you can actually just shoot the ship itself where all the enemies are crawling out kind of at the back. That's going to kill almost everyone that's crawling out of there. You can wait until they hit the ground, but again, Void Rocket Launchers are really good because the enemies kind of jump down and attack you in clumps. I was a Defender Titan with the Helm of Saint 14, and that was extremely useful as well, being able to put up a bubble right next to the warsat so you can still complete the objective while being completely safe on the inside. Now, as long as you move around the warsat appropriately for cover and utilize your supers and rockets to take down groups of enemies, you should be fine for this encounter. Now, you're then going to move into the bunker and have several medium-sized encounters along your way. What I would recommend for these fights is stay back. You really want to stay at the back of the rooms you enter and utilize covers like pillars and boxes effectively. There's really no need to run up in the middle of enemies, especially since they kind of spawn in the middle of the room. So if you move up too far, you can have enemies spawning behind you, which can be extremely dangerous. Now, next you're going to move into the electric hallway. This has you dodging electric currents and going to grab an objective to bring it to the other side of the hallway. Now, what worked flawlessly for us is that we simply sent our Night Stalker Hunter up to get the relic. He popped invis right before he grabbed it, and then simply grabbed it and ran back. The other two people stayed where he's actually supposed to put the objective and simply shot the explosive shanks when they spawn. It's very important to have people in the back as sniper support to take out the explosive shanks before they can get to the relic carrier. And again, the relic carrier having some sort of invisibility is very, very good for this portion. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily required as long as the other two teammates really keep on top of the shanks that spawn. Now after only a couple more medium-sized engagements, again in those rooms, as long as you stay back and utilize cover, you should be fine. You're going to arrive at the boss fight. Now although this boss does have a very, very powerful wire rifle that will almost kill you with one shot, because he shoots exclusively arc damage, it is not too difficult for this particular Nightfall. The most important thing to keep on top of for this boss fight is the adds. Now the adds are tied to where his health is at. Once you kill all of the adds, there's going to be no more that spawn until you hurt him enough that he gets to a predetermined portion of his health in which he spawns more adds. So it's very easy to just ignore him for a while, shoot the adds, keep on top of the adds, make sure there's no exploder shanks floating around or turret shanks, and then when all the adds are dealt with, you can go back to dealing massive damage to him. And I really do mean massive damage. If you have a good Void specialist weapon, you can do incredible amounts of damage to this guy. I absolutely destroyed him with my Telesto, but if you have a really good Void shotgun, Void sniper, or Void fusion rifle, you'll be able to bring this guy's health down extremely fast. Again, fighting the boss actually isn't that hard. He's dealing arc damage, he doesn't have much health, and you absolutely melt him with your Void special weapons. You just really need to keep on top of, like I've said, those adds. And speaking of adds, it's important to remember that when he enters his final phase, when you do enough damage to him, that his front blast shield kind of just pops up and he's all electrical and he's chasing after you, that is going to trigger the sniper shanks to spawn. They're going to spawn in the upper corners of the map. You really do need to keep on charge of these sniper shanks, because they do massive amounts of damage, and if you're gonna die to something, it definitely is likely going to be these. Now we actually barely got to the sniper shanks because we were able to kill him so fast, so this may be a strategy you want to pursue. Pop a bubble with weapons of light, for example, or tether him and just go to town, and maybe only assign one member of your fire team to really keep on top of adds so they don't get overwhelming. But if you really want to keep it safe and you don't want to wipe, I would again just recommend really dealing with those adds. They're very easy to kill, they're just shanks, and the boss really won't give you too much trouble. So you can simply deal a ton of damage to him when it's convenient and the other adds are dead. Now that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please remember to rate and share the video. It really helps me out. And if you want to see Destiny content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me, the best way is on Twitter. That's going to be linked in the description of this video, as is my Twitch channel, which you can follow as well. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.